We have been making an understanding of the principle of vibe as it works in us. The five elements, the five sensations, by the five senses, the five pulsations, and the five organs of action. The five elements and the five etheric centers relating to five elements was explained yesterday. And then the five pulsations were also explained. The five senses are known to us. The eye, the ear, the nose, the smell. The senses are hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, and touching. These are the five sensations. And the organs relating to them: ear, eye, nose, tongue, and the skin. These are the five sense organs. And then we have the five organs of action, or physical organs. One is speech, another is the two hands, the third is the two legs, the fourth is the urinary tract, the fifth is the excretory organ. These are the five important organs of action. The tongue, the hands, the legs. Tongue means the speech, hands and legs. And then the two excretory organs, one for liquids, the other for solids. So likewise we have five pentagrams in us, and that constitutes the outer man. The senses are meant to interact with the surrounding nature. If you don't have senses, you cannot interact with the outer nature. Imagine that you have no eye, no ear, no taste, no smell, and no sense of touch. Then there is no way to relate to the objectivity around you. And basing on what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you touch, and what you smell, you develop your experience of objectivity. The memory in you relating to these experiences is called the mind relating to the outer man. That mind enables you to remember the previous experience of the senses. And accordingly, you keep on repeating these experiences. If you have touched something, you know whether you should touch it again or not. If you have tasted something, you retain a memory if you should think of tasting it again or not. Likewise, the smell, the sight and the hearing. So you record your own experience relating to the senses, and accordingly interact with the outer world with the help of the hands, the legs, and to interact with the outer world, man has been given the speech. And with all his interactions, whatever he gets inside, it should be in tune with what is agreeable to the system. When it is agreeable and when it is assimilated, then the two excretory organs function well. If that is not agreeable, and we do not notice the agreeability of inner energy, and yet pursue them, then the two excretory organs will give problems. That's how the senses enable us to relate and receive experience. The inner man experiences the outer through the memory which is called the lower mind, through the senses and through the body. So this outer man is busily engaged in relating to the world. The inner man is with the three qualities, and the spiritual triad which is the basis for the three qualities. And he himself, as I am, the higher basis. And even I am is emerging from the source which is called that. So, the all-permeating God called that becomes I am in the morning. The I am is awakened into these three spiritual lagos of will, knowledge and activity. And then he further descends into the qualities. From qualities he descends into the lower mind. and conducts through senses and the body and relates to the outer world. This is how every morning as you wake up it happens. Every night when you go to sleep, all the outer man folds back into the inner man. And the inner man further folds into the very source from which he has emerged. So it's a process of unfolding every morning and folding back every night. But what an ordinary man knows, he is only about his outer self but not the inner self. He does not see clearly the three qualities that exist in him. He doesn't try to rectify the triangle. He does not see that the three lagos are with him. He does not see that he is himself light, and that as light he is a ray coming from the source. This part of man is forgotten. Man only knows the sense experience, and he retains a memory of the sense experience. So he is only living as his outer shet but not as himself. That means he is incomplete. That also means he gets more and more limited. More and more limitations surround him. All that he knows is only in relation to the world. He doesn't know anything about himself. His memory only gives him ideas about what to eat, what to drink, what to see, what to listen. What to touch and what to smell all the time. What is the sex activity? It is the activity of touch. You touch once, it wants it again. You touch a second time, it demands another time. And another time, and another time, and another time. Eternally you want to touch. If you are satisfied with the touch, at least 1, 2, 3 times you should be able to feel satisfied. If you eat 1, 2, 3 times, you should be satisfied. The sense activity seemingly gives happiness but does not give the real permanent happiness. If you are happy, why you again desire it? Happiness is a state where no desire exists. When desire exists, happiness is not there until it is experienced. The boyfriend is restless till evening until he meets his girlfriend. And the girlfriend is restless till she meets the boyfriend in the evening. And in the evening they meet. They are satisfied by late in the evening. But why again tomorrow if you are satisfied? That is the question the seers ask us. Likewise, if you have eaten, why do you eat again? If you have seen something, why do you try to see it again, and again? It is because you seem to have satisfied, but immediately a few moments after, the dissatisfaction arises, desiring it again and again and again. The memory of the previous experience haunts you to get it again. So you are more and more deceived of your happiness. Yes, it is an illusion of happiness, but not happiness. So people who are engaged in this sense activity only slowly become senseless. In the sense, they don't live well. And they are eternally put to that kind of grip of senses. They always have to run to see this, to see that, to listen to this, to listen to that, to go to this restaurant or that restaurant to eat, and then run for touch. This kind of activity is a vicious circle and makes you run in the outer world. This is compared to a crocodile in the scriptures. The objectivity is the crocodile, and through your senses you are caught by it, and consequently you forget who you are. Sense activity is always seen as a horizontal activity. Because you relate to the outer world. Yeah. The mind that recollects to you only the experiences of your senses is also engaged in horizontal activity. So horizontal activity would make you move outward and interacting with the outer throughout the life. You get exhausted, you get tired. You are supplied energy from within. The light and the life is coming to you from within, from the higher centers, and you are flowing it out all the time. So, the inner activity relating to the God in man and the man in God, the spiritual triad and your triad, these four form the verticals in you. So there is the inner man as a vertical and the outer man as a horizontal. So the whole wisdom science is relating the inner man with the outer man and enable the outer man to function in cooperation and in coordination with the inner man. Yes. That's the purpose. The outer man should coordinate with the inner man. So that the inner man will function through and gain such an experience that he remains desireless. Desirelessness of Buddha or of Christ or of any great being is due to their settlement in the inner man. That's why even after thousands of years they are seen as role models. And they have demonstrated unlimited capacities. Contrary to the limited capacities which we all have, they demonstrated unlimited capacities. Why? Because they stayed more inside than outside. You are essentially the inner man. The outer man is your vehicle. You are the rider on the horse, and your outer man is the horse. If the horse cooperates with the rider, then there is a ride. If your vehicle, automobile, cooperates with you, then you can travel. The position of a normal man is the horse conditions the rider, and many times does not listen to the master. It does what it likes, and the master becomes just a witness, a helpless, hopeless witness. So who is dominant in us decides if we are a master or a slave. Slavery is that where you only live to serve your body. Mastery is that where the body is there to serve the man. So the difference between the master and the servant or the slave is which is dominant in the man. Yes, you know the centaur. The anterior is human, the posterior is the horse. When you have such a situation, can the man function freely? cannot function freely. A part of it is animal. A part of it is human. Suppose the man comes out of this animal and then mounts on it, then it is a different story. So the animal part in you shall have to be mastered by you and should be presided over by you. Otherwise, the animal will totally condition you. You would only have one program of eating, mating, and sleeping. Seeing things, listening things, where you get good things to eat and good things to mate. That is what an animal does. So the animal in us nourishes the body, the outer body. So that is why the purpose of the senses should be known. That is only to nourish the body. The senses cannot help us to nourish the man. The man is nourished by the source from which he came. So the source from which he came is called God. So more and more when man relates to the cosmic man and tries to know the activity of the three lagos, the activity of life, the activity of time, the activity of the nature, then the man is nourished. Man is nourished by knowledge. Body is nourished by senses. That's where you have to use the higher mind which I was speaking before. The higher mind remains within the three qualities. The higher mind can only get interested about the subtle world, the occult world, the world of sound, the world of colors, the world of symbols, the world of numbers. The higher mind only can relate to the law of involution and the law of evolution. It can also understand the law of alternation and pulsation. It can understand the laws of nature. It can understand the laws of time. Involutionary, evolutionary times. There is a huge field of activity for the higher mind where he enjoys, and his joy is continuous and is not in bits and pieces, and he doesn't suffer any illusions there. All this can happen only if the lower man is well trained. If the lower man or the outer man is not well trained, the divine phenomena remains closed. See, you come all the way to India to learn some wisdom. How much is your body cooperating with you? Is the question. Suppose the body is not cooperating. What can you learn? Suppose in the prayer or in the morning teaching, the body puts you to sleep. What is it that you can get inside? What is it that you can absorb into you? So sleep is anti-knowledge. Why there is more sleep or more tendency to sleep? The body tissues are heavy. There is more inertia. Why there is inertia in the body tissues? The type of food we eat, the type of thoughts we entertain, the type of desires we entertain. That makes the body heavy. Once in a way, the body can become sick. But not all the time. So body cooperation is very important. So that body has to be trained. Body here means the lower mind, the senses and the body. That's the horizontal activity. It should be coordinated with the inner man. That's why when you make a vertical line and a horizontal line, we call them the coordinates. Kada? X coordinate, Y coordinate, like that you are taught in your school. The horizontal is Y and the vertical is X. X, Y. So, essentially, they are to be coordinated. When they are well coordinated, you have the right angle. And the right angle has many properties. Any other angle is wrong angle. So that's why a right angle triangle is taken as the basis for an appropriate creation. The square that is built upon the hypotenuse is the perfect creation. The square upon the hypotenuse is equal to the squares upon the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. Means what? I think you all know the theorem of Pythagoras. It is taught initially in every geometry. On a right angle triangle, in a right angle triangle, the square on the hypotenuse is equal to the sum total of the squares on the x-axis and y-axis, meaning vertical line and horizontal line. That's how the creation is made in right angle. Creation is made on right angle means there is proportionate spirit and matter existing in creation. So you too shall have to relate the inner man and the outer man. So that you make your creation as good as the creation of God. The scriptures say God made man in his own image and likeness. As much as you too can create. To create, he is using his spiritual triad. And you too can use your spiritual triad to create. So you have to prepare your spiritual triad into an equilateral triangle. Then you can make a creation which vibrates with the same energy as that of the nature. That's how you have to create your life. You cannot be a wreck in life. Broken marriages, broken economics, broken health, broken social relations. They speak that you haven't built your triangle well inside. That's why this knowledge should be given at the very early age. If this knowledge is not received early enough in the age, in the life, your triangle of qualities gets crystallized. And you keep on working in a very distorted manner. And you don't feel that you are distorted. Yes. Every one of us feel we are perfect, others are not. I am right, he is wrong. He feels I am wrong because he does not see me well. This is how we all think, isn't it? Each man has his own peculiarities which are not in tune with the natural triad. So you can't readjust this triad at the later age of your life. No, not much can be changed at the later part of life. When you are getting crystallized, that's the time where you have to prepare well. When the mold is being prepared, it should be prepared properly. If the mold is not well prepared, anything that comes out of that mold will have that distortion. So you wish to make a bottle. There is a mold for the bottle. The mold has some distortions. Any number of bottles that come out of that mold would have the same distortion. So what is to be changed is the mold. So if you change it in the early part of your life, you have done better. Otherwise, you have to destroy that mold and redo it. That's what nature does to us. When we are complicating too much ourselves, nature brings death. The death is to the outer man, but not to the inner man. The inner man never dies. The outer man dies. Yes. So that you are given a fresh opportunity to through another birth to prepare well this time. But again you are caught by the crocodile. Of the five senses and the sensuous experiences, the emotional experiences. Man has today degraded so much. He is trying to see in the emotions that it is divine. That's how men run after women, saying that she could be my spiritual wife. And the woman run after men, thinking that it is spiritual husband. For each one of us, the spiritual husband is inside, up there. If there is any companion, that's the companion. The inner man is the companion for the outer man. Outer companionships have no permanent value. Inner companionships have permanent value. All that you wish to have is inside. All that you wish to experience is inside. And you don't see that inside because you don't turn inside in spite of reading books. Turn inward, you find everything. Turn outward, you get illusioned. So in the world of illusion, if you are trying to develop some eternal values, you are not considered really wise. Wisdom tells us, relate to the inner and grow vertical. Verticals relate to the divine. Horizontals relate to the mundane. So stand in verticality and function in horizontality with a view to distribute but not to receive from the outer. If you receive things from the outer continuously, you would even pollute the inner. The inner is divine. The vertical is divine. So from the divine to the mundane, you let the energies flow. And from the objectivity, when there is a counter flow of energies towards you, have a filter. Don't let everything to come into you. Only that which is desirable, that which does not affect your inner being, allow only that to come in. You don't let anybody and everyone into your house, do you? You don't let animals into your house except your pet animals. Not all animals. You don't let thieves into your house. You don't let people with licentious habits into your house. You don't let terrorists into your house. But they break open and come inside unless you are strong enough. So you should know what should be let in, what should not be let in. The five senses and sex. These are the 6 avenues, 6 doors open for energies to flow in, but not only for flowing out. Yes. The eye not only sees out, but also brings in what is seen into its memory. So also the ears, the nose, the tongue, whatever it tastes, it keeps the memory. And the touch. So the senses have a two-way flow. To flow out your energy into the outer, it's okay because it's divine. What flows in is important. You should only let qualitative things into your being. And you have to use a filter so that not anything and everything enters into your house. That's important. This is what is called discriminative functioning with the senses. The seers say the most difficult sensation to be regulated is the touch. The touch sensation is very difficult to overcome. The urge to touch the other gender is such a strong urge, and you don't know many times what you are touching. When you touch something, you are touching that energy system. What is apparent is not real. Sometimes you may touch a monster thinking it is master. Touch discipline is very well practiced in the groups of followers of Buddha. An young monk in the Buddhistic system is put to the discipline of touch for almost 7 years. Nothing in the outer he would touch. If someone is to offer a fruit to him, the monk would have a bowl of water, some Himalayan water. You have to put the fruit in it. The water cleanses the aura of the person who has given it. So the fruit is discharged of the previous touches it received. Then he eats it. He drinks from his own cup. He doesn't eat in any cup and every cup. He doesn't drink in every cup and every cup. He doesn't eat in every plate and every plate. He doesn't sleep on others' beds. He doesn't wear others' clothes. Yes. If there is an inevitability, he will first wash them and then accept them. Because only water cleanses well. The instinct to touch can be overcome through excessive use of water outside and inside. Frequent baths and frequent drinking of water. Take as many baths as you can if you have a sex instinct. Otherwise you will have psoriasis. Yes. People suffer from psoriasis. And there is the urge for excessive touch. And if it is practiced, then they will have syphilis. These are all dangerous miasms. So, use of water is therefore recommended in the preliminary discipline relating to wisdom. Touch is the most difficult thing to overcome. That's why in the age group where you are considered a youth, you are asked to look to noble aspirations than to looking to touch each other. Touch causes mix-up of energies and the related confusion. And then the second sense, which is really difficult as touch, is taste. Taste is one thing that binds you to the objectivity. These are the two senses, touch and taste. Both are, in English, they start with a T. Touch and taste. These are the ones that give you contact with objectivity. Physical contact with objectivity. Touch means you are touching something physical. Taste means you are tasting something physical and tangible. So that's why the discipline relating to taste should also be developed only during the youthful days. People who are accustomed to junk food during childhood are gone. Their system is totally disturbed. Chips and Coca-Cola. By the way, you may not know because you may not be seeing the papers. They found pesticides in Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola, and there is a huge uproar now to ban these drinks. It is now engaging the Indian Parliament since about 4 days. An analysis of these drinks found in them pesticides. And now it is global what we drink. It is Pepsi-Cola and Coca-Cola. And children think of only colas but not coconut. And all these fast foods which are prepared with commercial attitude. So when you eat food which is so low in its energy, in its vibration, physical properties it may have, but every article has its subtle properties depending upon who handled it, who prepared it. A cup of coffee given by your mother is different from a cup of coffee you drink in a hotel. It may be the same milk, same coffee decoction, and same proportion of sugar, but it's different. Because the energy of the mother has love also with it, with the cup of coffee which she gives. The energy in the hotel doesn't have love, it has commercial energy in it. So, what you eat is not so important. From whom you eat it is important. Where you eat is important. You eat in a quiet place, it's different than eating in a busy place. Because the vibrations are different. Eating in a quiet dining room is different from eating in a bus. And much more different from eating on the road. Now we see people walking and eating. I see sometimes people running breakfast. In one hand they hold a sandwich, and in the other hand they run for a bus, city bus to catch. That's not food eating. We have lost certain basic things. That's why even if you eat only healthy food, you still have diseases. Health is not in the physical aspect of the food. Health is in the surrounding vibrations relating to food. Food cooked with love and served has greater value than the scientifically cooked healthy food from a restaurant. When people know the science of vibration, they realize this. So touch and taste are the most difficult things to overcome. These are the two legs of the pentagram. You see the pentagram. It has five hands. The lower two are touch and taste. If you can regulate them, you are already halfway through the conditioning of the mundane world. Then comes the smell and then the sight. What to see, what not to see. What to smell, what not to smell. So there is a discipline in relation to every sense. You have to discipline the senses like this. What to listen, what not to listen. If you listen anything and everything, you are disturbed. If you see anything and everything, you are disturbed. Is not your energy inside disturbed when you see a sexuous movie? Can you be dispassionate in seeing a movie of sex? How much you are disturbed inside? How much you are disturbed in seeing a horror movie? Are you not disturbed? Suppose you see a movie full of snakes late in the night. You can't sleep in your room switching off the light. So you should filter till such time the inner being is strong. Once the inner being is strong, yes, if he is strong, then you are dispassionate. You can see anything and everything and yet not disturbed by it. So if we are disturbed by the outer, you are weak. Unless the inner is strengthened, you are very easily disturbed by the outer. Yes. If a person is disturbed regularly in the day, it is because he is a slave of the objectivity. The inner man, if you strengthen him, he will be like a tortoise. You see the turtle? When the situation is not favorable, it withdraws into itself. That's why tortoise has become a spiritual symbol. When the situation is favorable, once again it relates to the objectivity. That's why tortoise is important. Ability to withdraw the sense activity when not required, and ability to relate the sense activities to the outer when required. That is the first step. If the sense organs of action and organs of senses are always drawn out, there is no way. Yeah. And the five senses will draw in five directions. Imagine a chariot of 5 horses drawn in 5 different directions. What happens to the chariot? It becomes 5 pieces. Isn't it? So, can that be a travel? The horses have to be trained. Training the horse is the training the body. That was the first labor given to Hercules. Hercules was asked to tame certain wild mares. These are the wild mares. The senses. They can't be trained unless they are picked up early. Most of our diseases arise out of our food habits only. And 100% of our diseases are due to our other attitude, other behavioral patterns relating to the other senses. The 5 senses contribute to the health or the sickness of a person. And sickness is not only physical. The deeper sickness is emotional imbalance. If we are emotionally imbalanced, we are frequently in anger, in irritation, in depression. We have a lot of complaints about others. We hate some people. We love some people. We don't like people who don't follow us. Everyone wants others to follow him. As much as you think, the other man also thinks. So why should anyone follow us? You follow your higher self, the inner self. It is more important than expecting others to follow us. People who want others to follow have always problems. The best example today is the American government. They want the whole world to follow them. Why should anyone follow them? If I have something, if I need something from you, I pretend following you. After the need is over, I don't. That is the worldly way. So people use American government's money, but then don't follow them. And it's a losing battle for them. As long as they have the instinct to lead others. You see Krishna and Christ, they never asked anyone to follow them. One is a cowherd protector, another is a sheep protector. They stood behind and took care of every cow and sheep. A real leader is one who stands behind you, not before you. People think they should lead from the front. Yeah. So they move in the front and expect the group to come behind them. Many times when you look back, you don't find anyone there. A wise leader is one who is behind the group. He is not the divine behind the man. So the divine is behind, meaning deeper in the man. And then there is the man. And the man is behind the outer man. So, outer man has the support of the inner man, and inner man has the support of the divine. So, the divine itself decided to be in the background and be helpful. But if you think of being in the front ground, you are doing the contrary. It's all emotion. Emotional people want others to listen to them, to follow them, to be obedient to them. Wise people would try to be obedient to the divine inside. Try to follow the divine. And try to align with the divine. The whole work is inside but not outside. So our problem starts with our body and the senses. So we are bound by the body. We are bound by our sense habits. We are bound by our thinking patterns. We are bound by our three qualities. Unless we release ourselves from these four and work with mastery with them, we cannot say that we have freedom. Freedom should be to the soul, the man inside. Is conditioned by qualities, is conditioned by senses, is conditioned by the body, is conditioned by the objectivity. With so many conditionings, the man suffers. Even if he have all the wealth of the globe, he suffers. Even if he has all the power on the globe, he suffers. So it's not money and power that gives you happiness. It's your ability to conquer yourself, your lower self, that gives you the happiness. So this is how the whole constitution of man is, more or less. There is God in man, and there is the man, and then there are the qualities of God in us as the triple qualities, and then there are the qualities of man in us, and then there are the five senses and the body. So we should first know that this is our constitution. And then we should know where we should sit and preside over our system. The place of man in the human body is the forehead. He should stay there and conduct the work. Then he is the king of his kingdom. But normally a human being is either, in the navel or in the sacral. If he is excessively emotional, he is in the sacral. If he is excessively self-centered, he is in the navel. So to come out from that situation, certain practices are given. Tomorrow and day after I will cover briefly those practices. Now we have come from head to the base. Now we have to go back from the base to the head. So that's how it is. Thank you.